Today on Tech of Tomorrow, we're going to be checking out the brand new BenQ EL2870U 28-inch HDR monitor. But before we check that bad boy out, let's check out a word from today's sponsor, Corsair. The Strafe Mark II features 100% Cherry MX RGB key switches, providing a smooth and linear response with precise accuracy. These switches deliver flawless key presses and have a lifespan of up to 50 million actuations, so you know you're getting the durability you'll need. There's also a convenient USB pass-through port for any additional USB device you might want to use. It also includes a volume wheel so you can adjust the audio on the fly without interrupting your game at all. The Strafe Mark II is also compatible with the iQ software so you can customize the RGB to however you want it to look. Looking for a tool to take on your PC opponents? Give the Strafe Mark II RGB mechanical gaming keyboard a look today. So if you're looking for a new keyboard to get your game on, check out the Strafe. Now today we're going to be checking out the BenQ, like I said, EL2870U monitor. Now this monitor features HDR10. It's a FreeSync monitor, so it'll work with all the current AMD cards out there, so you can get flicker-free gaming. Now, everything about this monitor is pretty much geared towards a gamer. This is a gamer's monitor. It's not really meant for people who are going to be doing artwork or stuff like that. The color correction on this won't be exact. For one thing, this particular monitor features a TN panel. We talked about this in another video. TN panels actually have the fastest response time. This particular monitor has a 1 millisecond response time, which is very fast. However, the color gamut on it is only 75% of what real color is. So if you're an artist and you need to match colors and do stuff like that in Photoshop, you probably would not want to get this monitor. But for a gamer who's playing games, none of that stuff really does matter. So let's talk about the design first off about this monitor. The one thing I want to mention right off the bat is on the front, you guys will see there is a very giant bezel around the side. I think this is a really giant bezel in today's, technology. And if I was going to be, using monitors for building surround vision or anything like that, putting three of these monitors together for me wouldn't exactly be the best thing whatsoever because of this. The screen itself is a very, very nice screen. It's flicker free. It has eye care technologies. It has a bunch of different stuff inside of it for blue. It also has some brightness intelligent plus. So all kinds of technologies inside of the particular panel though are geared to be so that you can play your games on your monitor though for hours and hours on end. 16:9 aspect ratio. It is a 4K monitor. 3840 by 2160 is the resolution. The brightness on this particular monitor is 300 CD. The contrast ratio is 1,000 to 1. The dynamic contrast ratio is 12 million to 1. So there's a lot of stuff there. Although, like I said before, the colors on a TN panel aren't going to be the absolute best reproduced, like lifelike. But that really doesn't matter if you're a gamer. You're looking for technology that's going to be very fast and it's not going to give you a headache. Now, as far as the stand goes, it's really basic stand. Not too much adjustment either. That's one thing about this particular monitor, I guess it's a caveat about it, is the stand itself only gives you a tilt from 5 to 15%. So that's really not very much. There's no kind of adjustment for, the height or anything like that. You can't pivot the monitor, although I guess, probably most gamers won't want that anyways. But for other people who are doing stuff, I guess, it's either a point that's going to matter. They're going to say, oh, I don't care. I'm just gaming. I guess it just depends on, your aspect of, what you're doing with the monitor. And if for some reason you don't want to use the stand, the monitor can be mounted to your wall by the VESA mount. Also, inside the panel, you can't see them. There are two 2-watt speakers inside of there. So if you don't want to use, audio speakers, you can use these. There's also a headphone jack, which will also double for a speaker jack. So if you want to plug your speakers directly into the panel, you can do that. The onboard speakers do provide adequate sound. They're not going to blow you out of the water, and they're definitely not so loud that your neighbors can hear it. But for generalized gaming, surfing the internet, and just doing stuff like that, the speakers do work pretty well. Will a discrete set of speakers with a subwoofer sound better? Yes, but hey, this is on board and it's included.
Killed the skeg, then slid to the fancy man looking at me instead of dropping his body on the news channel, he diced it up real fine.
The on-screen display, it's really easy to use. It's right located on the front, and you'll notice right on the right-hand corner of the monitor, there's a little button that says HDR. And this particular button allows you to turn HDR on and off. When you're inside of games, they'll let you know if HDR is being enabled and being used. Like in the game Prey that I've been playing back here behind me. In Prey, it actually shows that the HDR is being simulated inside of the game. Now, HDR is really meant to give you the actual best lighting inside of a game. It makes a lot more areas inside of the screen are all lit up. And the pixels per inch in this particular monitor are 158 in the panel, by the way, if I didn't mention that. And you can also access the on-screen display right from the front on the bottom right-hand corner, right underneath that HDR button. So you just click the buttons down there. You can easily scroll through all the different things inside of the OSD. It's very simple to use. Now, the only other thing about this particular monitor is I wish that it was a little bit faster, you know, on the refresh rate. It's only 60 hertz. I kind of wish that it was a little bit faster, but I will say this. Even after playing games for hours on end with the flicker-free technology and everything inside the monitor, I wasn't getting a headache, which kind of surprised me. Usually in the past, if I played on the monitors that didn't have 144, you know, I usually started getting a headache, and I didn't get a headache whatsoever. So the eye care technology inside of the monitor, allowing you to play games for a long amount of time, is actually a really, really good thing. The monitor does excel for playing games, which is what it's, you know, geared for anyway. It's not geared for doing art or anything like that. And you guys can see in game here in Prey, everything looks very, very nice. Inside of this game, everything looks, you know, it's still cartoonish though. That's one thing, you know. A lot of people have complained in the past about games, you know, like if you enable all the goodies, everything starts, you know, getting slower. Well, that's because inside of these environments, they're recreating, you know, trying to recreate, you know, the natural world as much as possible. And the more natural and more real that it's going to look, well, then obviously the more taxing it's going to be on your system all around. Hooking up your system to the EL2870U is very simply done. There are two HDMI ports. These are both the 2.0 version, and there's a single display port, and this is the 1.4 version. And also, like I said before, there's a headphone jack for either hooking up your headphones or hooking up to external speakers. Games look absolutely great on the EL2870U. There's nothing about this monitor in gaming that makes you go, oh my god, I don't like this. And in fact, even though this is an LED backlit monitor, there's no light bleed whatsoever. So if you're looking around the sides of your monitor, you're not going to see any kind of light leaking through. There's no bleeding whatsoever. All the colors are just fine for gaming. Now, there is one other caveat, I don't think it's really going to matter though, is that the viewing angle of this is only 160 if you're viewing it from off to the side instead of, like, you know, looking at it straight on. But when you're playing your game, you're playing your game straight on. You're not playing your game from off to the side. So having something, you know, being able to view it from the side being important, I really think it doesn't matter whatsoever. I really like playing Doom. This is just one of those games where you can just go around, shoot things up, spend an hour and they're getting out your aggressions, killing stuff. There's absolutely really no plot, nothing like that going on. You just simply go around and you kill. And, you know, for a lot of people, that's a lot of stress relief. And when you have a really nice monitor that you can stare at for hours on end playing your games, I think that's a comfort. All right, so there you have it, all the specs and all the features of this particular monitor. I gotta say, the EL2870U does have a lot of features for a monitor that comes to market at under $450. I mean, let's just face it, you get HDR10, you get FreeSync. Also, this monitor claims that it does have 10-bit color. I looked into this, and I guess that it actually does. A lot of people had said that, oh, hey, that's just bullcrap. But TN panels are really slowly closing the gap between them and IPS monitors. The only difference between an IPS panel and a TN panel at this point is really the color gamut. Like, if you're looking at an IPS panel, they have those to almost 100% RGB, where they're like perfect. They're mimicking, you know, whatever they're looking at almost perfectly. With TN panels, you still can't do that. But with the gamer, if all you do is game and sit in front of your computer and game, who cares if the orange is 00.58 and not 00.60? Who cares about that? As a gamer, that's meaningless to you. You're not going to sit there and go, you know what? I think the gaming developer meant this blue to be a different color blue, man. I'm not happy with this game. So if you're strictly a gamer and you want the response times to be very, very fast, just make sure you get some of the newer TN panels that are really closing that gap. This monitor does have a 10-bit color. So, you know, if you have a video card that supports all that stuff and can put that out, then you'll be good to go. All the games look really great in this. As far as the text and stuff online, it looks totally solid. I think that stuff's almost, you know, kind of irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether you're using an AMD or an NVIDIA card, really, at this particular point. If you're just surfing the net, I don't really think it matters, you know, what card that you're actually using. I think at that point, you're just, you know, you're reading text and you're looking at stuff online, and both cards do that very well. Now, being an AMD card means that, being a monitor that supports all the AMD cards was really great. So if you have a card, one of the newer AMD cards, and it supports FreeSync, you know, you can hook it up to your monitor. It's not expensive. You get all that FreeSync technology, which means you can play your games flicker free and not get a headache. BenQ really wanted me to stress, though, about the eye care technology and all that different type of stuff in the monitor, because I guess a lot of people just take that for granted. And looking at the monitor with all their flicker-free and their eye care technology, like I said, I was able to play games for at least 3 or 4 hours before I was starting to get eye fatigue. And I mean, I'm a guy in my 50s, and I used to only be able to play games for like less than an hour unless I had a monitor that could do 144 hertz. So even those particular monitors, only 60 hertz, I'm still able to play games on it for hours on end without getting any type of headache whatsoever. Which also translates, if I'm going to be working online, you know, just surfing the net, checking my email, doing all that stuff, I'll still be able to do that for long hours of time without having to rub my eyes and going, oh my God, why am I feeling such fatigue? Because the fatigue comes from the monitor, you know, blinking and stuff. All that blinking in the background that you're not really physically noticing, but your eyes are noticing, is what causes your headaches. And so you get rid of all that stuff off the table, headaches are gone. At $440, I have to say this is an editor's choice product. I honestly wish it was a little bit bigger version, you know, would have been really nice. You know, the 16:9 aspect ratio, though, is perfect for this particular monitor. The price is perfect, I feel. The only caveats, like I said before, are the very thick bezel. I don't really like that whatsoever. I wish it was smaller so I could put 3 of them together. That's just my thing. I've been whining and looking for the perfect monitor set up in this corner back here behind me that you guys can't see. I want to set up a big, 3-monitor gaming area again and have that stuff going on. I really wouldn't want to do that with this monitor. The fact that you really can't do too much adjustment on it, that's also a little bit of a caveat. But beyond that, everything about this monitor for a gamer is spec on and right on. So if you guys want to see more information about this particular product, buy one for yourself or just to check it out, we'll have a link down there below the like button where you can do so. So you guys have been watching Tech of Tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for BenQ for providing this monitor. And if you guys aren't subbed to the channel, hey, I'd love to see you here. And if you don't have notifications turned on, hey, make sure you do. Otherwise, you won't see anything. See ya.